I've developed an application, 12 man-months, but today I had difficulties to set up the IT strategy related to the maintenance of the source code. Taking into account the amount of releases of Google App Engine Python, do you have any advice?
Okay. If I remember right, I think you were sort of suggesting the person who asked this question, they asked a few more questions, and
Yep.
I think you said it looked like they were maybe running Python 2.5.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So, App Engine has a deprecation policy on all of our production services of, I believe it's 1 year.
Yep.
And that's kind of our guarantee to you that, we're not just going to change APIs on you, that when we bump up the next version of the application, your application is going to continue working, the APIs are going to behave the way that they're expected. Having said that, there are kind of incremental changes that we make. Just like the Python language is Python 2.5 is not as common anymore as Python 2.7. At some point you need to make a switch. It should certainly not be a regular burden. I have applications that I deployed more than a year ago, and they're still running just fine. It's the experience of most of our users. Usually what we find is that developers are making changes because they want to take advantage of new APIs or new capabilities that we've launched.
Right.
There have been probably a couple of cases where we've sort of had a changing, or not a breaking API change, but a new version of a capability that we've made available, and that's from Python 2.5 to 2.7. There are some differences, and Python 2.7 provides a lot of great features that weren't just possible in 2.5, like the ability to handle concurrent requests. There's many language preferences. We also had to change from the master-slave data store to the high replication data store, which has huge advantages. The master-slave data store had regular maintenance periods. There's still a few users on that, but I believe the majority of users are now on the high replication data store. Just a much better experience. When you commit your data, it gets committed to multiple data centers synchronously. When a data center goes down, you don't even notice it. And that sort of improvement is sometimes worth going through the effort and making sure that the way you're executing queries is still compatible with the new version. But you have plenty of time to kind of make that change on your schedule.
Yep.
And so what we find that developers do is they sort of use one version of the SDK they're developing locally. They go through a couple of releases on their own, and then there's kind of a break, maybe once a quarter or so. They say, you know what, let's catch up to the latest features. Let's see what we can incorporate that we haven't yet, and then they'll kind of bump up the version.
Right.
And so you should have sort of naturally flow along with the App Engine releases.
Okay, it's important to also stress what we mentioned earlier. Experimental features are always likely to change from one release to another. So if you are using an experimental feature, you'll probably get enormous benefit just from using that feature. But you may have to adjust your code when we release a new version just to keep up to speed with it. Hopefully that's not a big impact though, not something that
it's generally a polish around the edges. When it's an experimental or we're still trying to collect kind of feedback from the community, find out new use cases. Maybe there's ways that we could improve the API a little bit. And so you've seen that, for example, with the search API, that from the very early days to now, there's a couple of changes, but generally things have just gotten better, and all of our users have been quite happy with that.
Right, excellent. Okay. So we've got 2 more questions here.